I call the meeting to order. The first thing on the agenda will be the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I would like to approve the minutes. Well, first of all, we welcome the public.
Thank you.
I assume it's Mark, right?
And Leanne.
Leanne, okay, welcome. I'm sure you have a concern you want to share with us. If you
Yes.
want to have the floor, you go for it.
I was just trying to get my head around, so to speak, the whole EDUs for, as I don't know if everybody knows, but I'm in the process of purchasing the Bowl Mart. And we're in the process of closing and selling our assisted living facility in Rouse's Point. So our plans are to do some renovations there. But I gotta start at the ground level and so I'm trying to get an idea on what's going on with the water EDUs there. And why it's assessed with so many, and how that assessment comes into being. For the fairness of everybody involved.
I'll give you a little bit of history. I can't tell you the exact, it's been 4, 5, 6 years since we started this project.
Right.
It's been horrendous. Originally, the engineers were the ones that assigned, Brian, you can jump in here on if you need to, please do. The engineers, by a formula that they had, okay, we were novice, we didn't know how to do that. A restaurant with so many seats and whatever. Most of them were fairly accurate. The Bowl Mart was at that time assigned 6, because 6 EDUs, because there were 5 on the building and 1 on the trailer out back. The previous owner, the owner, I guess he's still the owner,
Right, yeah.
okay? Came to see Brian and I, with some justification, we lowered it with board approval from 6 to 4, with the agreement when the trailer leaves there, and he said it was gonna be, it would be reduced to 3. Okay. Now, if you had a water park there, you might have to pay 8 or 10, I don't know, there would be,
Right, right,
it's based upon possible usage.
right.
Okay, so we thought at that time, lowering it from 6 to 4, and with the promise of lowering it to 3, was fair, and Dick agreed to that. I'm not gonna say he was perfectly happy, he probably would like nothing to, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, and the other thing is the trailer in the back, I'm not sure what the situation is there. Why?
I'm not sure it has water, does it?
No, he doesn't have water there, and why he doesn't have water there, I don't know either, because when I confronted him and said, well, how come you're not hooked up to water? He said, I was never offered to be hooked up to water.
Who was it?
That Babby, Denny Babby.
Yes, okay.
And I don't know, I don't know anything about him, I know who he is, and
Yeah.
I've spoke with him a few times, of course, because I'm
I
purchasing
do
property.
know, we put the water from the road to the Bowl Mart building on the outside, then we
Right,
did some work of restoration on that. I'm not sure if it's inside your building or just to the wall outside. But
I
it's
believe
there.
it's inside, when I
Okay.
went in there, because I think there's even, the meter is there. I don't know that it's hooked up, but,
Well, I know it's to the building.
yeah,
Whether it's
I
in or
believe
out,
it's
I
all
don't-
the way into the building, yeah.
Okay.
Nothing was hooked up in there, but because the main lines from the well are not there anymore. So
Okay.
they must have yanked those when they put that in. Well, my situation is, why is there 3 on a piece of property that is virtually worth nothing? I'm paying $70,000 for it, and I was really only wanted to pay 50. Yeah, it's not
Wanted to-
worth much.
He was asking to do something for that.
Did you ever go
Have
in
you
there?
been inside it? The
Pardon?
problem is, it was,
It's worse than the nursing home one.
yeah, the problem is, after they left, they basically closed the doors and shut the heat off and did nothing. Everything's froze, everything's.
You can't, it's barely inhabitable, it's gonna take so much work.
So it's not that I don't wanna pay my fair share, and I know that once we get it rehabilitated, that I'm gonna be back reassessed with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I don't know how many, whatever it seems the potential,
There's very few with 8, I'll tell you
but,
that.
okay. Well, wasn't it at 6 or 7 at one time?
It was 6 at one
6,
time.
okay, 6, yeah,
That
so,
was
But
when
that
the,
included the trailer.
Pardon?
That includes the
That
trailer.
that included the trailer, yes. There was 5 on the building, 1 on the trailer. Julie, do you have we don't have that. We're approving the water bills tonight, am I correct?
No, because I didn't get everything done because I was having issues with the program.
Okay. Do you know offhand approximately how many units, ADUs on Garen's Old Chevrolet Garage?
They probably just,
well, I guess
Doesn't
I'd
look.
like to know how you come up with this EDU thing. Like, how does that number can't be just pulled out of the air, or somebody can't just arbitrarily say, well, you're worth 3, and you're worth 6, and you're worth 1, and
How do you figure it? How does the number
how does that number
about?
come into being? I mean, from
The
what I
answer-
can see, the building is no better off than a vacant field at this point, for sure. I mean, if the field across the road is assessed at 1 EDU, I mean, he's got the potential of having a hotel there as much as I have the potential of having anything at that piece of property at this point.
If that were to happen, a person builds a hotel.
Right,
They'd have to go through the process of a building permit,
correct.
and that probably would trigger a review of the whole situation, and that would change dramatically.
Right, and that's all I'm asking. I'm just asking, right now, I have a vacant, basically worse than a vacant piece of property that needs thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars of renovations. I just wanna be put down to a level playing field, and then when I get my building permits and when everything gets all beautified, I have no problem paying my fair share. I just know if I start at 4, I know what's gonna happen. Once I start putting some money into it and fixing it up, all of a sudden it's gonna be 6 and 8, and then that's for the rest of my life.
If you move that trailer off the day after you buy the property, we are obligated, I say we, the board, to keep our end of the deal to lower it to 3. I'll tell you that right now.
I understand you wanna get rid of the trailer, I kinda wanna get rid of the trailer too, but it's not gonna happen right off. And the issue I have also is how come he doesn't have water there?
Okay, I have a gentleman on Route 11, single-family house,
Yeah,
paying 1 ADU, does not take the water, doesn't want the water.
but he refused the water.
Correct.
He never refused water there.
Okay, his argument to me was, for instance, the gas line goes by my property, the cable for the TV goes by my property, and I don't take it and I don't have to pay for it. Why do I gotta pay for 1 ADU on a residence?
Yeah,
It does make his property more valuable.
no, I understand, and I understand the big picture, and I don't think it was a bad thing to have the water district done. If you don't have the infrastructure in your town, you can never grow, and if you can't grow, you're just gonna go backwards. So I don't think it's a bad thing, the water district, and I have no problem paying, I just wanna pay my fair share. I don't wanna pay because I have the ability to pay. And I don't believe that I don't see any justification for that to be 4 EDUs there. I can see 2. I just don't. If anybody can tell me why there should be 4 on that piece of property, then I'm willing to listen, but. And I still have nobody's really told me where they come up with these numbers either.
Is it on usage?
Pardon?
No,
Is it on the usage?
No,
the
usage,
nature
you will
of
be
the
charged.
property.
The nature of the property.
That's
Uses
one
is actually-
yes.
Is it on the number of,
But who
Size-
decides what the nature
Size of
and-
the property, what the intention of the property is for. Yes, and so if there's, at the time of the Bowl Mart, you could have figured there was a bar and serving food.
Right.
You had restrooms, any kind of cleaning facilities, the
Yep.
trailer in the back. So as a functioning business, based on the code that we have in terms of its space and if it's a vacant lot versus a property that's
Right.
functioning, how many employees it could be, so there is a way to calculate it.
Right.
We're in the process of working on updating what we have in connection with the village of Champlain to make sure that there's similar assessments in how people are arriving at that. So that's how we get those numbers.
so
Yeah, I know how that
with
works.
it being the way it is now, and it's inhabitable,
Well,
And
see,
it has
you're
been
bringing,
inhabitable
you're bringing
for-
new information to the table. I don't think anybody sitting here is really, is aware until right now
Right.
Right.
what the building state is in. And your intentions for the building are to tear it down and build
No,
on the
I'm
property,
hoping to
or?
rehab it into maybe I just drew a blank, banquet hall.
Okay,
That's our plan.
Yep.
But,
Yeah,
Some of the best laid plans.
It's a big staple in the community, kind of like the nursing home was. You know, you wanna revive it, you don't want it to, you know what I'm saying? But we gotta have a fighting chance.
You did a beautiful job.
Yeah,
Mhm.
well, and the guy who assessed us and all that did a great job in leaving us and letting us get it to where we had more residents and more residents. And he didn't, you know, tax us to death and
yeah, they
so-
worked very well with us when we first bought that.
And the
They brought the
village was
assessment in line,
terrific
and
and
then our
everyone was
assessment has
terrific.
definitely gone up since then,
Right,
which is understandable, but, and that's kind of the same theory that we have with this facility. I'm definitely gonna be talking with the tax people as soon as we close on the
we need to
first.
start out low.
And we need to get the assessment where it really should be, because right now I think it's assessed at 225. Well, I know it's gonna take at least that, probably more, to get it up to where it needs to be. So if I start at 225, before you know it, I'm gonna be $600,000 assessment there. Well, that affects everything if you wanna stay in business. So if I get my assessment down to reasonably where that building should be right now in its state of repair, which, because I purchased it for 70, it should be lowered at least to 100 probably. And then as I fix it up, it's gonna come up, just like the nursing home did, but at least when it's all said and done, it should be in a decent ballpark.
And there again, if the property is vacant, you're still gonna have to pay land and school taxes on it, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes.
So it's
But for
not.
what we paid for it.
Right.
Well,
But the
I
assessment
can't
for the land and school
honestly answer
taxes.
that question because that's an assessment question.
Right.
Right, the land and school taxes though are always assessed on market value. And so whatever the market value is, that's what you pay here, and I understand that, and we have no problem paying that. But this water district thing, it's not really like a fair market value, that's what I said in the beginning, I'm trying to get my head around where these numbers even come from. Because if I can understand why my property has so many ADUs and this property doesn't, then it's fine, if that's what it is, I have no problem. We're not talking thousands of dollars here, you know, we're talking a few $100s every quarter. So, but I don't wanna be taken advantage of either. Just
Well,
because.
the difference to you, if we lowered it from 4 to 2, it would be roughly $900 per year. Okay?
That almost pays the cable bill.
But that leaves, you know,
No, you
at least when we do fix it up and whatever, we're not at 4 and then going to 6.
Right, that's the other thing, where you start
You know what
makes a
I
big
mean?
difference, because if you start at 4, and now all of a sudden, I know they're gonna come around and say, well, you've improved the property 300%, so now 4 times 3 is 12, so now you're at 12. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but definitely if you start at 4, it's gonna go to 6 or 8, or if I start at 2, where it really should be, I think, then it'll go to 4 or 5 or 6. Because whatever it ends up at a few years down the road, when it's all said and done, is what it's probably gonna stay at for a good many years.
There's 27 years left on that loan.
Well, yeah,
That's an interest-free loan, by the way, too, so we're lucky there.
yeah. No, I think that was a good decision, it's just, I'm just trying to
Well,
be
the same-
fair with everybody.
And the same principles would apply, you know, your square footage,
Right.
number of employees,
Nature of the property.
what the
Nature
property's
of
being
business.
used for.
Right, no,
So-
that's understandable, for
yeah.
sure, for sure.
I just asked.
So what is your
Hotel-
business plan looking like in terms of how long-term before you actually foresee this banquet hall being, you know, operational?
I don't dare say honestly, because it's just, I don't even actually own the property yet.
Okay.
That's not till the end of this month, and then I have to go in and do a full assessment, and then I have to figure out architects, and then I have to figure out zoning, and then I have to.
It's not a 6-month process.
No,
No.
I can say,
Cedar Hedge, we had people in there full-time for 2 years.
That's what I figured.
yeah, it was 2
So-
full years
So
from.
it'd be 2 years probably before you.
Yeah, and I would say that's probably realistic there,
Okay.
probably. I'd like to say it'd be done quick, but The other thing is, I'm not have the ability to have an architect come in and do everything and then have Luck or somebody come in and do it all and get it all done. I'm gonna have to, sub from local subs and stuff like that to get things done, which always takes a little longer. But it's much more affordable that way, and I can kind of control costs and use local people. So that's the way we normally do it. So that's the plan, so hopefully you guys can figure something out.
Brian was here with the whole project for me. These other two gentlemen weren't here when the project started, okay? Do you remember, Brian, they always talked about potential usage?
Yeah, you have to have the potential usage available for whatever occurs in the future. In other words, you can't build the water treatment plant and the pipes to your current usage. You have to build over and above it because people are gonna come
Yeah.
and build. Hopefully, that's part of the.
And that's the plan of why you're doing it in the first place, is to help attract.
Right, to help attract.
For this project to be self-sufficient, let's put it that way, we need to gain 6 to 8 EDUs every year. And the only way we can do that is a new construction.
Yeah.
Okay, we know we just had an apartment house with them, 3-unit apartment house is 3 EDUs. We know the tractor supply is coming in, we don't know how big the building or usage or how many employees, we don't know none of that yet.
Yeah.
We're just putting one online now on the West Service Road, the new New York State inspection station and the state police are going up on the West Service Road. So those are new ones since the project was initially planned, okay? So we know that there are gonna be a few EVUs there for the coming year. But down the road, 2, 3, 5 years from now, we need more development.
Oh, I understand, yeah. Yeah, you can't go backwards, never,
That's the only thing that will make this viable.
costs keep going up.
We are, I say we were approached by engineers to consider a sewer line all the way to Rouse's Point. I don't see that happening very soon. The reason being, we haven't finished this project. We gotta get over one before we can start another.
Get all the bugs, get
And
all the
we
bugs
know,
worked out.
I say we know Route 11 needs sewer for development, okay? If you start planning today, that pipe probably won't be in the ground for 3, 4, 5 years.
Right. Oh, I know, yeah.
You gotta get
Everything
state
takes time.
approval, engineers, and, yes, Calvin?
And being at those meetings and listening to the architects, seems to me that that whole decision was made based on road frontage. You got an EDU based on your road frontage. That's what was said at the meeting, that's what was said.
That's
So,
part of it.
so that 3 or 6, whatever it was, came from the amount of road frontage that the Bowl Mart had. That's what you did, that's why you're
That was
charging.
part of the equation, let's put it that way, it wasn't the whole
Yeah, it was
equation.
all,
I mean, you could have,
I'm assuming there has to be some type of formula, because
Yeah.
number of bathrooms, a hotel's definitely gonna be
Yes.
more
Yeah,
than
yeah, yeah, but I'm talking
a
vacant land.
storage bill unit, and-
I'm talking vacant land, you got one
Oh,
building with
vacant
vacant
land.
land,
Right.
so
yeah.
every,
the average
frontage.
household told us use roughly 125 to 150 gallons of water per day. Okay, so if you had a restaurant, they use 1,000 gallons of water a day,
Yeah.
it might equate to 5 or 6 EUs, okay? In other words, those that use the pipe mostly, the more they use it, the more you use it.
Yeah, that's the same way, like we are in Rouse's Point, and most residences aren't, most of the businesses are metered, and then they're assessed so many EDUs, they have the same setup there. Yeah, and as far as the trailer with Denny and all that, I don't really honestly can't answer those questions, only because I still haven't heard back from the lawyer exactly what his deal is. Like, I don't know if he's squatting there, or, I've talked to him, and
I heard he's hauling water in there, I don't know.
oh yeah, he's hauling water. Yeah, he hauls water from his mother's house. He has 55-gallon drums, and he brings them there, and he pumps it in, he's got a whole system set up in there. He invited me in, he's an all right guy.
Oh,
But but I don't know, I still don't know the whole situation as far as if he has any rights there at all. Cause I don't know for sure if he was renting, so if he has,
squatters' rights.
our squatters' rights, I don't know. he did come to me and cause I told him, I've been talking to him off and on, and he did say, well, if you're gonna kick me out, it'd be nice if I knew ahead of time. And I
Well,
said, I'm not kicking him
I
out
take
at
it the
this
trailer's
point.
part of the deal though?
What's that?
The trailer is part of the
Part of
deal?
the sale,
Yeah, cause it's on the property.
right?
But he owns the trailer, doesn't he?
Right, so that's what I mean, I don't
So
really
we're not
He
know.
sure.
owns the trailer,
He owns the trailer,
The trailer?
yes,
so you're not buying the trailer.
Oh, that's
No.
interesting.
no. But I own the property the trailer's sitting on.
But it's
Yeah.
costing you,
Interesting.
And he rents, apparently there was 6 trailers back there at one time, that was before
Yes.
my time, I remember when there was 3. And they all paid rent, they paid lot rent, basically it was a small little trailer park.
well,
And
he's
you
not-
guys want that trailer out?
No, we're saying that's one of the EDUs is for the trailer.
Oh,
now, if he's not paying you any kind of rent for that,
well, we don't own it yet, so we don't,
well,
yeah.
you do own it.
Right,
If he's not paying you any kind of rent to park his trailer there, it's costing you money to keep him there.
oh, well, he's at
Yeah.
least gonna be paying his EDU, I can tell you that.
There's how you pay for your EDUs.
I can guarantee you that. But how long he'll be there, I don't know. He's not gonna be there forever though, I can tell you that. I'm not arbitrarily gonna say he's gonna be gone right now, because,
I can only tell you, I guess it was a verbal agreement, Mark, it came in front of the board, you and I had that conversation with the owner now, the owner still owns it.
with Dick, yeah.
As soon as they move that trailer out of there, there'll be one less EDU. And we will keep that promise to whoever owns that property, okay? Because I believe that was a board passed resolution, we passed that. We can't,
So now we need to get the Bowl Mart property down to 1. Do we have to have a vote? Or do we have to have, do you guys all wanna take a tour before you vote? I'd be glad to bring you down there.
yeah, I know you don't wanna hear this, but I got some vacant properties probably larger than yours. Not being used, hasn't been used in years. He's in the water district and he's paying.
Well, is he paying 4 EDUs?
I don't know that. I asked Julie, she wasn't sure. I asked her when I came in here. But I can find that out in a day or two, and tomorrow I can find that out.
I can go look, but I gotta know the address or name or something.
Well, it's, talk about which one I'm talking about, the local meat packing plant?
Yeah, on West Service Road.
No, Ridge Road.
Oh, on the Ridge Road, GLC.
If you,
Yes.
if I could ask, what is your formal
You wanna
request?
know,
How
For
many
the
EDUs?
board
I'd like to have my
consider.
EDUs lowered to 2, one for the Bowl Mart and one for the trailer.
See here, the ocean.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Until such a time that
I want her to look that up. I want
upgrades
to
are
be
made.
accurate. I don't wanna tell you something that may not be accurate. I want her to tell me how many EDUs on that property.
It's a vacant piece of property?
No, huge building, like bigger than yours. Vacant, it's been vacant for 15 years, more than that, right?
Long time, yeah.
Okay?
Well, I know when I bought the nursing home, the bank was paying taxes on $390,000.
Am I correct? Originally, that was over $1 million building?
Yeah, and then they were paying, I forget what the other fee was they were paying just to keep the lawn mowed. That doesn't mean that that's what it was worth for them to pay, you know what I mean? Just because your guy is maybe paying, I don't care if he's paying 15 units, it's his own fault for not trying to figure out why he's paying so many. I just wanna be fair with everybody. What I wanna know is how you come up with these units, nobody's been able to tell me that yet. I know there's a formula, we talk about this grand formula,
It's
I've
basically,
never seen this formula.
as my understanding, it's basically the nature of how the property is used.
So then it's pretty
not-
simple,
It's
Well,
not.
I should be a
Well,
one.
at the same time, if somebody has a building that's assessed at, say, 5 or 6 EDUs and decides to close up, should we then go back and say, well, we're gonna lower it down to 1? Or, and we still have to bill to pay every year, that loan. That the EDU money pays for the infrastructure that was put in, regardless of how much water is used. And we have to, I think, it would help me, I can't speak for these guys, but it would help me if I understood how the building was gonna be used, and that probably would be triggered with a building permit, whatever you
Right.
have to do, okay?
Right.
And then at some point, the assessor gets involved,
Right.
okay? And that information would help me understand approximately where the EDU assessment would be. Now, looking at this, the so-called magical formula then would help us to clarify what it should be. So to me, there are a lot of unknowns there. I don't know what you're gonna do there.
There's
and
no,
when.
there's no unknown there. If you wanna go take a look, I'd be glad to take you.
No,
and
what,
then
you
you'll
know what it's like now, but the nature of how the property is gonna be used would influence my perception on this. And
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but if it was a field, I could tell you that it could be used to build Disney World, but it's not relevant to what's right now. And that's all I care about is
Right.
pay my fair share right now. When things change, when we come in and apply for the building permits and all that stuff, then things change, then of course,
And he's under assessed.
that's gonna change. Now, if you tell me that
And what don't?
what I do going on in the future is not ever gonna change my EDUs, then we're all fine here.
But we don't know what you're
How
gonna do.
many EDUs does he
Right,
have?
If you
but
put
what
up
I'm
some
telling
big
you is,
restaurant there
what
that's-
I'm saying is in the future,
Vacant?
5 years from now,
Yep.
Building.
we build a huge water park there,
Yeah,
then you don't have a problem raising my EDUs then. But now, when it's nothing, you have a problem bringing it down to nothing, to where it should be. So if you're telling me that all you care about is what we think we might be able to do with it, then I'm glad, I'll glad to pay my 4. I'll pay my 4 forever, as long as you say that I can pay 4
so you're
forever.
telling me it's gonna be worth, could be worth more than 4.
Well, I would assume so, if it's 4 now.
Well, you've gotta eliminate the trailer, that's
Okay,
irrelevant, you
that's-
can throw
Yeah,
that
the
out.
trailer.
The trailer, you're getting assessed 3 for the Bowl Mart, that's what
Right.
it amounts to.
Right.
And that's what we should be discussing, because,
I'm not talking about the trailer.
right, yeah, that's what I mean,
That's
no, no,
what
I know, but I mean, it's.
Right,
You gotta
you
bring
are
it-
100% right, yeah. Take the
because-
trailer out of the equation, so it's really
Right.
3.
Right, and there are some benefits, the fire hydrants, you know, in case you put, you may be required to put a sprinkler system in there. And then you're gonna need the pressure and the volume to put that in there. And we have to be ready to provide that. And if there's a problem, we have to fix it. In other words, with the pressure and the volume, or if there's a break, you're probably gonna use more than a 1/2-inch line, which is the typical,
Right.
you know.
Oh, there's
it's-
big lines in there already.
Yeah, well, that's what we were planning on, and I think we just need more information. That's the way I feel. I don't feel confident changing it until we know what we're looking at in the future there. I mean,
So you don't care about the condition that it's in now, all you care about is the future? Because I can sit and I can let it rot there, it makes no difference to me.
Yes,
I can make it a storage building, and I can leave
Well-
it just like that.
yeah, but
If you don't,
That's
if you're not
what's
willing to help a guy out,
basically doing.
that's,
That's
and
what
you know my history, so if you're not willing to help a guy out a little bit to get started, then I don't even need to do business there.
Have you,
I honestly don't need to do business there.
have you put your request specifically in written format we can look at, or no?
No, but I can write it down, I want my EDUs
Would
assessed
that help
at 2.
us?
One for the Bowl Mart and one for the trailer,
So you're asking.
just like a vacant lot, because that's essentially what it is.
I got commercial properties now, more than one, that are vacant.
Yes.
We're buying it for
Potential's there.
$70,000.
Then I wanna see the magic formula.
$70,000 it's worth. That's the worth on that property is $70,000. Nobody else will give him anything for it. Just like it was bank owned with the nursing home, nobody else would touch that.
And you know Dick Cole, he doesn't like to part with it.
That building was deteriorating pretty fast too, though, before you guys got there.
It was, it was,
The bank may have taken a lot less if they held on to another 10 years.
yes.
Okay. And I've been in there since you owned it, beautiful,
Thank you.
top notch.
Yeah, yeah. It's
My wife worked there the day it opened. She had worked for them for several years before that. She worked there 32 years altogether.
Hmm.
I took her back to see the place, it was amazing. No doubt
Mrs.
about
Pollock came in too.
it. I guess by fixing it up and make it worth something for you, right? You had something to sell that more than you had when you bought it,
Mhm.
by a long shot.
Yeah, I guess I just don't understand the way it works.
I will tell you, the original, Brian, the only one that was here, these two weren't. I don't think Rick was either. The engineers are the ones that originally recommended ADUs on commercial properties.
Yeah.
Uh,
They
Most
went-
single-family households or duplex, them were very simple to do.
Yeah, I understand that, but it was a business at the time. It's a nothing right now.
But it's zoned commercial.
You have no
Yeah,
trouble.
It is a commercial zone, yeah.
Yeah, that whole street is though.
Right.
And you have no trouble raising it when things get better. But when things are defunct like it is right now, it should go the other way. That's the right thing to do. Then once it gets better, it can go back up.
What's the square footage of Garen's building?
What's his name?
Garen's,
Yeah.
what's the square footage of their building? What's the
I
square
don't know how
footage
big
of your
that one
building?
is.
Well, it's around 18 or 20.
How big is yours? Is it the one you?
Yeah, it's 18, I think, 18,000.
So they're close in size?
I would think Garen's probably pretty close. Yeah,
The other one is
Seems about the same
two-story
size.
building with 5 on it.
Yeah, I don't know why they're so high. Really though, when you think about it, but I don't know.
We did not put the EDUs on assignment.
I understand, I just wish I wish there was an easier way for you. I mean, I understand your position, it's hard to try to figure this all out.
But
Too bad there isn't an easier
can't you
way
as
to.
a board all get together and say for the good of the business, you know, of bringing more business into the area, that this would be a good decision to help these people get started, like they've shown you in the past that they have done? Kinda like a good faith thing?
You know,
Now, the vacant land that the Tractor Supply is building on,
Yes,
how many EDUs were they paying before they?
well, that, I can't tell you, honestly, I can't tell you that one, but that was part of the farm. It's gonna be subdivided.
Right,
I think it's 6 acres. And how many EDUs, 20,000 square foot building, I understand it's gonna be, or close to it.
yeah.
No, he wants to know now, right?
Mhm.
What
Yeah,
they-
I mean, what is it now? What is vacant land now? Or land that's not being used, that's what I
A
should say.
vacant house, building lot is half an EDU, no buildings. Okay?
So basically, land that is not being used at all is at a half EDU.
As soon as it's being used for a building, it can be a tiny home or a mansion.
Right.
You know, it goes from a half to a full. We
And then
have,
after that, it goes based on use and,
well,
Purpose and use, yes.
Purpose, restaurant,
Correct.
or
that's why I'm saying, right now, it should be one. And then, based on whatever we do with it, then you can decide what it is at that point. There's no power there, there's no water there, there's no nothing. It's nothing. It's a mess is what it is. It's a pile of cinder blocks.
I understand. I didn't say I agree, I said I understand, okay? It's the will of the board, but I don't know if we need to look into it further, how we handle it. I do know this is gonna open up a can of worms.
I recommend that, you know, what Clark said, why don't you formally put down in writing what you'd like us to do, and submit that to the office, and then, let us review it. And I think we'll be reviewing several things. And, could we say, give them an answer by the next time we have a board meeting? Or within 2 months, or, I mean,
well, I think the reason, depending on
Is there any
what we
way we
can.
can get a vote before we close on the property?
and that, when would that be?
When are you closing?
On the 31st?
First of the month.
Those bills are going out next month, you told me, for the first quarter?
Yeah, well, wouldn't you like to know?
I'd just like to know, I don't even care if it doesn't come into effect until
we'd like to know.
I'd just
but
like to know where I'm at.
It's definitely a decision that should be, you know, you guys should probably look at it pretty closely because it determines a lot of things for us.
And we don't wanna open a can of worms.
I think
We
we
don't wanna be
either.
the ones that do that.
I know you don't.
So,
We're
so
fair-
maybe we'll
we're
just
very-
submit the letter and you guys
Submit the
look
letter,
at
let
it.
us look at it.
We're
and
very
see.
fair people, but we
Women
don't
to
mind
think we
paying
gotta
our
do it.
share. We
Yeah.
really don't mind paying our share, but we don't wanna pay more than we, you know, than we think that the value is there.
I'm happy
You
this
know,
summer's
like,
gonna happen.
I think the EDU amount that we charge per EDU
Mhm.
would really hinder a motel or a hotel. With that plus the water rate, there's some reservation about that. And the community, a lot of people in the community feel that we do need some type of room motel, but I mean,
Yeah, well, for us, especially if I wanna put a banquet hall there, that's really the one determining thing that kinda held me back a little bit about even contemplating it, is because without a hotel, it's hard. Hotel would be huge.
you got room on that lot?
We
I
can't
don't
get
have room in my pocket for it.
The bank's got a lot of money.
Yeah, I know, they do, you're
Okay.
right, they do.
But,
You have to talk to a chain or something. I'm just being, yeah.
Yeah.
But that would be, you're right, that would be perfect because.
Yeah.
I don't
transportation
believe, for
doesn't-
instance, you could have a 20-room motel, or hotel, either one, and charge them 20 EDUs. But I don't think.
Now, I can see your dilemma, as you kinda, it'd be nice if there was some type of structure, so if there were new businesses that approach you, you could have definitive answers. You could
Yes.
say, well, you know,
I
they
don't
said, and I would imagine there's other municipalities that have this same situation, and they must have some protocol and some structure for, if it's a 20-unit hotel, if it's a seasonal hotel, if it's bed and breakfast, or whatever it is, or a Tractor Supply, or,
The golf course pays year-round, they're only a seasonal business, they're only open roughly 6-7 months a year. But they pay all winter long too, EDUs.
well, everybody's gotta pay their fair share, I understand that, and, you know, and it's the good of the public, really, to do those things, but I just wanna start at a good spot, so that way when things
I'm sure
do.
the systems that are going in now are paying a whole lot more than they did 20 years ago, for instance. But we couldn't wait 20 years to get water in Route 11, we needed it, it's more expensive than ever to install it.
Yeah,
That was a $13.9 million project. That was, just, you know, upgrades with towers and water plant and pipe in the ground. Well, I guess I need some input. I have no problem with your suggestion.
Yeah, I agree with Jason. I think, submit a formal proposal and we'll take a look at
I
it.
don't have much to tell you other than what I told you, but I'll put it in writing, and I'll bring it in. Appreciate your time.
I just want to keep it cordial.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay?
You do, but, you know, if you don't ask the questions, and,
Right.
Right, if you don't ask, you don't know.
yeah.
I can see this room filling up other people. Then that leaves us the problem,
Yeah,
you know?
well, we'll just make a.
I already have people that think that we should raise the EDU rate and lower the water rate. We looked at that, we thought about that, it's kind of like the last resort.
Now, EDUs, are they paid on the whole town or only where the water went?
Only where you can only charge people in the water district.
Correct.
But doesn't it benefit everybody in the town because it brings more business, it brings more jobs?
But
and
they
it-
don't get water through that pipe.
Yeah, but if, I understand, I would imagine though, if you asked every business that got water from your pipeline,
Yes?
I bet every one of them would tell you, we don't need your water. Because they all had water before. And I don't think really any of them were
No,
complaining about supply of
I'll tell
water.
you this, if I'm correct, if somebody else can correct me if I'm wrong here. On the West Service Road, for instance, all commercial property up there,
Mhm.
anybody with 20 more employees has to get their water tested. I believe it's once a month, maybe once a quarter.
Right,
On a public water system, they don't have to do that.
right.
And this new sewer system we just put up there, a guy was in today, he has to have his septic pumped out 3-4 times a year. He's thrilled to be able to get onto our sewer system.
Yes,
And
in the
he-
village and the West Service Road, that's very different
Yes.
than farm country down Route 11 all the way to Russ's Point.
Yes.
That's, I think, where you're probably getting your most slack, is down there.
Same water,
What's that?
it's the same water.
Right, but none of them wanted it.
Where?
Down Route 11, all the
That's
way
right.
from here to Ross's Point.
I'll tell you, I was a councilman here before I was a supervisor, and that's 14 years ago. And we pulled everybody on that road, we visited everybody on that road. And the majority wanted water.
Did they know what the cost was gonna be?
Okay.
I just feel, and I understand but I just feel that it definitely brings something to the community, and it benefits everybody in the community, so it just seems like it would be more of a tax thing than a.
But is it fair to
But I-
tax a guy in Coopersville or the other end of town where I live, if somebody gets the water over here and I can't get the water? Is it, you know,
Well,
there's an argument both ways.
yeah, no, I understand, I understand, it's a tough, that's why, leave it to you guys.
I'd have two rooms full of people if I charged people not in the district for that project,
Yeah,
okay? I'd have to borrow a bigger auditorium. The state law says you can only charge those that, you know,
Benefit.
benefit. Now, we have 3 or 4 lighting districts, for instance. And only those people in those lighting districts pay for that light, mostly street lights.
I mean, I see where that makes sense, it's just, I know it's a big bill, and you spread it out a little more, usually it's a little easier on everybody, but,
We've made 3 payments on this loan, no, the project's not finished yet. That's how slowly and unexpected things has happened over the past 3, 4 years.
I've done very, very small projects in comparison to that, and I know the headaches, so I can't even imagine the headaches with that size project. But,
I cannot, never expected it to go on this long.
but we won't keep you guys, appreciate your time,
Well, thank you for coming.
Thanks for
And
coming in.
I'll
Yes,
write that out.
your request requires a few conversations.
Yeah.
It does not, it's not just one, so we appreciate it, thank you.
All right.
Okay.
You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but that's fine too.
Yeah, well, you got anything interesting? New-
Gotta pay some bills.
Oh, that doesn't sound.
It's never fun.
here.
Take care.
Thank you.
Get there.
Yes, Calvin?
Just to let you know, I've had a couple of meetings with the county. I'm on the Economic Development Committee, the Finance Committee, the Human Services Committee, the Personnel Committee, and Chairman of the Public Safety Committee. And there's 5 other committees that I'm not personally involved with, but you know, if you need to have any back and forth with any of those that I'm on or those that I'm not on, you know, don't be bashful, don't be afraid to.
We know where you live.
Thank you for,
It'll be a
Thank you for
learning
being
experience for you, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, let me know what you guys need, 'cause I'm not gonna, you know, be at every meeting here, but, the
That's fine.
camera will be.
Okay, good, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. Now I'd like to approve of the minutes of December 10th, that was the regular monthly board meeting.
I make a motion that we approve the December 10th minutes.
Do I have a second?
second.
Thank you. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. I'd like a motion to approve the December 23rd end of year special meeting.
I suggest that we change the name from Burt's to Bory on
Correct.
page 1.
On the first page.
John was here that night, wasn't he? No?
He was here the other day, though.
Yeah, good.
Was it?
For 3 minutes. You got that one, Joey?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions on the December 23rd meeting? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's also carried. Okay, we have to do our supervisor's appointments. It's my recommendation that Brian Moore would be our deputy supervisor. The grants committee would be Brian, Rick, and Mike Tatro. Water and sewer committee would be Jason Bory, Brian Moore, and Mike Tatro. The highway committee, Jason Bory and Brian Moore. Building committee, Brian Moore and Clark Hurdick. Emergency preparedness, Rick Hunter and Clark Hurdick. Handicap discrimination, Brian Moore and Larry Barkle. Town Policy Committee, Larry Barkle and Clark Hurdick. Zoning, Jason Bory. Planning Committee is Clark Hurdick. Landfill Committee is Jason Bory and Brian Moore. Zone and Code Officer is Mike Pedro. The Land Bank Board, that's the new one, this year, Jason Bory's on that one. Vital Statistics is Julie Castine. Budget Officer is Sarah Gagnon. Harassment Officer is Sarah Gagnon. Youth Director is Charlene Sample. Cable Franchise, Clark Hurdick. Dog Controller Officer, as of tonight, is still Kaylee Mills. Fire District Liaison, Jason Bory. Safety Officer, Mike Tatro. Board of Assessment Review is Brian Moore. Parks and Youth Programs is Clark Hurdick and Brian Moore. Shared Services is Jason Bory and Brian Moore. Historian is Tom Manderville. I would like a motion to approve those appointments as read.
Make a motion to approve the appointments for the 2020 year as read by Larry.
A second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's also carried. The resolutions, we have to accept town policies on personnel, conflict of interest, code of ethics, sexual harassment, drug-free workplace, procurement, alcohol and drug, safety and health, investments, disaster response, hazardous material response, and hazardous communication. I'd like those approved as read.
I'll make a motion that we approve the resolutions as noted by Larry.
Thank you,
Second.
thank you.
These are in existence already.
They're all in existence, we have to approve them.
Second.
These will be the rules and regulations we follow this coming year. I don't think we took a vote, did we?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. And then the salaries for 2009, well, this will be 2020, Julie, you want to switch, change that? They're pretty much, well, some of them are the same. The supervisor's salary is 19,000. Council members is $6,150 each. Highway superintendent, the elected position is $19,503. The full-time working position for the highway superintendent is $41,766.51. The town clerk tax collector is $29,078.96. Additional duties for the town clerk, the water and sewer, is $8,109.67. The planning and zoning clerk, $10,728.71. There's two justices of the peace. Their salaries are $34,243.13 each. The marriage officer is $1,000 even. Youth director, $5,551. Board of Assessment Review, there's 5 members. Each is $300 for a total of $1,500. I would like a motion to approve the salaries as read.
Make a motion that we approve the salaries for 2020.
Thank you,
Second?
thank you. Any questions, concerns? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. We need to set the regular meeting nights. I'd like to keep it on the second Tuesday of the month. The place will be here at the town hall. The time will be 7 p.m. Could I have a motion to approve?
I make a motion that we approve the set regular meeting night as the second Tuesday of the month here at the Town of Champlain office, and the time 7 p.m.
Thank you,
I'll second that.
thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. We need to designate the following banks as official depositories of town funds. The Champlain National Bank, that's our primary bank, Community Bank, and TD North Bank North, TB Bank North. I have a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. We need to designate the Press Republican as our official Champlain newspaper.
I'll make that motion that we approve the designated town of Champlain official newspaper as the Press Republican.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We need to designate our town attorney as Matthew Favreau.
I'll make the motion that we designate Matt Favreau as our town attorney.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor? Opposed? That's carried also. We also need to designate Matt Favreau as our town attorney for zoning and planning.
Make a motion to designate attorney Matt Favreau for our zoning and planning.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. We need to set reimbursement rate for mileage driven on behalf of the town. The IRS rate is 57.5 cents per mile. Okay? That's the internal revenue rate. We follow those guidelines, okay? Do I have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make the motion that we set the mileage rate reimbursement for 2020 at 57.5 cents per mile.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. As usual, we make donations to local veteran organizations upon submission of a voucher. We usually do this in the fall of the year at $100 each. That's, I believe there's 4. There used to be 4, maybe only 3. I believe Champlain Legion is closed down now, just to Russell's Point, the FW, maybe one of them, I'm not sure. But anyways, they're $100 each upon a submission of a voucher.
I make the motion that with the submission of a voucher that we donate to the local veteran organizations $100 each.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It was carried. Okay, we need to authorize payment in advance for audits and claims for public utility services, postage, freight, express charges, and all other payroll-related deductions. These are the things that could happen between board meetings. Okay?
Make a motion to authorize payment in advance for all audit claims for public utility services, postage, freight, express charges, and all other payroll-related deductions.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. We do not need to approve anybody going to the Association of Town meeting in February because we're not sending anybody this year. We haven't sent anybody for several years. It's pretty expensive. Okay. We have a financial resolution as follows. In lieu of filing the town's financial report by the supervisor with the New York State Audit and Control, he is authorized to instead file a copy of his annual report given to the State Controller's Office within 60 days of the close of the financial year. And further, he forward a copy and proof of publication of said report in the official town newspaper when filing with the said Audit and Control. I need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions on this? No? We have to, every year, we have to give an annual report of the previous year by the end of February, I believe it was, okay? All in favor on that?
Aye.
Thank you. Post-audit resolution, authorize the payment in advance of audit claims for public utility services, postage and freight, and express charges. All such claims shall be presented at the next regular board meeting for audit. And the claimant and the officer incurring or approving the same shall be jointly liable for any amount disallowed by the town board. In other words, I'm not gonna sign any checks unless I'm absolutely sure you guys are gonna approve them.
I make a motion that we approve the post audit resolution.
Thank you,
Second.
thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. Okay, we need to approve our December's clerk's monthly report.
Which of these are we approved? Did I get that?
Did I have a motion on that?
Clark's still looking for.
Are you still looking at
Did you put it over there?
Oh, I'm sorry. My fault.
it? Does somebody have a question on it?
No, I'm
No,
just
I
finding mine.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
Yeah, I'll make the motion that we
Thank
approve
you.
the town clerk monthly report.
Second.
Thank you. If there's no questions, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have your JCO monthly report, and on my desk, we did get a thank you note. I should have, I didn't show you tonight, from one of the gals that visited with us here early fall, before we included the increase, remember that?
Yes.
She sent us a very, very nice thank you.
That's good.
I can show it to you guys, okay?
Good.
I met her at the post office and I thanked her, because we don't get too many thank you notes. Okay. Ag and Markets did Bell Control Officer's Inspection Report. Everything was satisfactory. That's the lady out of Malone, that's strictly for information. And you do have, the second page on that, is the inspection itself. It was passed inspection, that's strictly for information. The next thing is the Association of Towns. As we stated earlier, nobody will be going to that. It's just for your information.
Do we have to point out the dues, Larry? Do we have to make mention of that
I
or
would
not?
think, well, if you have it, you can read it, but I believe they must be in the bills to be paid.
Yeah, they are.
There, okay, all right, very good. So we'll make that.
It used to be
notion that-
800 to 1,000 a year, I'm not sure what it is right now.
Yep.
Okay?
It's 1,099.
Does anybody have any reports on, any of the committees? I have none. Superintendent of Highways report, the only thing I can report, everything's going fairly well. We have not had a lot of equipment breakdowns, there's been a few small stuff. They had a challenging weekend this past weekend, okay? With the ice storm, you weren't here, you missed it all.
I missed it. Weather was great in Boulder, Colorado.
No, they got through it fine. We had, our equipment held up, no big breakdowns over those storms. One day we're down 4 trucks, I believe. One had a minor breakdown. They get fixed the very next day. So the weekend went fairly well, considering there wasn't much going on around here Sunday, other than trucks on the road. So a lot of things were canceled.
You have to approve Janice Letourneau as marriage officer.
We didn't approve her? Okay. It wasn't in appointments?
No, it's in the salary thing, but it's not in the appointments.
It's in the salaries?
Yeah,
Okay, I know, I've seen it somewhere.
but you have to appoint your
Okay.
marriage officer.
As it's been for many, many years now, we appoint Janice Letourneau, a marriage officer. She is a past justice. That's how she, did you know that?
Yep.
Janice was a justice way back for a few months one time. Okay, I believe that's, is it $1,000? I have got that right in front of me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll make the motion that we approve
She does
Janice Letourneau as our marriage officer
She does
for
a few
2020.
weddings a year,
Second.
upon request. Any question on that one? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Sarah has looked into something. She contacted the town of Plattsburgh. We have a company now that does background checks for us on the future employees, and most of those are youth workers that we have during the summer and stuff. We have to do background checks on all of them. We were paying roughly $350 a year for that service, plus roughly $40 each time we had somebody had a background check on. Sarah is recommending that we use the same company that the town of Plattsburgh is using now. They do not charge a yearly fee, they just charge a fee as needed when an application goes in.
What is it per fee application?
Per person,
Yes,
it's roughly about $40,
okay.
okay?
Yeah,
So we have to,
you have to do it.
the other company is about the same per employee, but we don't have to pay the $350
Right.
yearly charge, okay? And that is her recommendation, which will also be mine.
Okay.
I believe it's right here in front of us. Well, I got it right here in front of me. The current company is $43 per screening, plus $300 for a membership fee per year. Okay? This past year, it looks like we spent $476, and the year before we spent $50. The new company would have only been $351 total. It is a savings to us, okay? The second page tells you the level of background checks. There's different levels of background checks. It is a recommendation, it is a saving to us. We do have the recommendation of another town close by that had good luck with it. You got the copy?
I don't think I have a
No,
copy of
I
that.
don't think we got it.
I don't think we got a
You
copy.
didn't get it?
No.
That's
So what's the name of the company, Larry? Does it say on
Uh,
You probably could put that in front of a motion, couldn't you, Rick?
Yes.
there? I
That's
don't
who we
see,
have now.
correct, and I don't see a name for the new company.
Saw that, right here,
Or is it further in the notes?
on the, second page.
Okay, that's for Sterling. But the new company, if we're making a motion to move from Sterling to
Sterling
this
is
new
the old
company, I don't know. I don't see anything here.
I'll tell you right up front, there's towns that do not do background checks. And I think it's for our safety that we do background checks,
Yes.
okay?
Is it NCSI,
Mhm.
background screening? Okay. I'll make the motion that, for the 2020 fiscal year, that we move to have NCSI background screening, performing our background screening of individuals.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
90% of those background checks are youth workers. And, workers are here on our highway department stuff. We don't get that much of a turnover. But if we hire somebody new, we do have to do it there too.
You said youth workers?
We have,
Yeah.
I'm just guessing 20 or more summer youth workers.
Mostly kids or most adults?
Well, a few adults, but a lot of them are high school students with a swim program,
Right.
and they gotta be certified for
Right.
first aid and all that stuff. Our youth programs.
It's a very important process.
It protects us,
Protects the kids first.
it protects the kids, but it protects us from liability of hiring somebody that we shouldn't have.
Right.
Okay, let's put it that way,
Right.
okay? Okay,
Did we pass that? Okay.
okay. I had a motion, Rick had a motion, did you, Rick?
Yeah, Clark second.
Yeah, Clark second.
Okay. Any questions on this one?
No.
All in favor? Opposed? That's also carried, thank you. You will have your dog control officer report.
Yep.
As of Friday the 10th. Please read it. You have your vouchers. You'll notice this is a little different format on the bills now, okay? We need to, wow. You all got this one here, is it kosher, or I don't know how to pronounce it, but Coaster?
Chester.
Yeah,
Chester.
yeah.
This is the pumping station on Duval's Road that needs to be upgraded. We band-aided it now, let's put it that way. To keep it running for the winter months, there is 2 pumps there, so they do alternate. But the company was here, they're recommending an upgrade of a pump to do it in warmer weather, this spring or summer, so we need to approve it. It's $9,171.75. We need to approve it to get it done.
I'll make a motion that we approve the anticipated expenditure of the lift pump on the Levy Bowl Road.
Thank you.
For the amount of $9,171.75.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, you got your bills, for the monthly bills, you gotta approve those. Do you have any extra monthly bills? Okay.
Nothing.
Fairly extensive, for sure. Well, I did see the Association of Towns, the very top, first page, first one, right, a little over $1,000, almost 1,100.
Yes, $1,099. I'm wondering if Sarah could, in the future, just, and this is me, probably, nobody else cares, but, because all of this now doesn't actually indicate, you know, what specific general ledger account, is there a way for her to kind of maybe put like a ledger summary on the back page that identifies with, you know, like what, you know, for example, A1620.4, I don't know what that is. So a lot of times, you know, I can look at the actual payee, and I can look at the description, but I still don't know what account the money is coming out of, so.
Oh, okay, I get you. Julie might be able to explain this better than I am, where she wants to go on a new system on her computer, you know what it's called? It's not BAS, is it?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I don't think it is BAS.
It is still BAS?
Yeah.
So it's a new format?
Well, I think she said this isn't the way it's gonna be, and this is just because she's not all set up yet.
Yes, I believe you're
So
right.
this is
Yeah.
a temporary.
This is just temporary
Okay, so
until
let's
she
wait
gets
and see
set
then
up.
what that looks like.
Yes. Okay, now, you'll notice the big ticket item here, on the second page, the second one down to the second page.
Yeah.
The New York State retirement, that's a once-a-year payment that we make. I was wondering why it was so, okay. Retirement's not cheap either, is it? Okay,
Maybe my question is a follow-up to what you were saying, Rick, but over on the left, there are 4 different coded categories. I have no idea what that means. There's a total of $84,904.
Right.
But then there are 4 categories. What does that mean?
Right, and that's what I'm saying, so it just, it would be nice to kind of identify.
well, certainly, you know, Clark comes in, Brian quite often, you two, I realize you're in school, but she can clarify that for you, okay?
Okay.
I do know that we save a little bit of money by paying our retirement once a year up front, okay? Which we've done that for many, many years since I've been here. Okay?
Workers' comp isn't cheap either.
No,
It's gonna keep going up.
I know.
too.
no. Nothing's cheap anymore. $1 million doesn't buy what it used to. Okay, did any, have any issues with any of the bills?
Let's see. down about 2/3, 3/4 of the way, Visa J, Visa S.
If you look down, about 2/3 of the way down, there was some postage too.
Yeah,
I kind of insisted that $300,000 payment that we just made, $299,000 something, it had to go to Buffalo.
Yep.
It had to be there by a certain date, and I wanted that with a return receipt requested. I wanted to make sure it was there on time. That's the only reason we paid postage on something that we don't normally do, okay?
A question.
You noticed about the fourth or fifth one from the bottom on the first page, Novatech. That bill used to be well over $8,000 a year. And we're on a different format as we hire them by the hour now.
right.
So we saved roughly $3,000 on that one item. That's our computer expense. Okay.
Clark, what was your question on the Visa
Down
J and
on
Visa S?
Page two, about 5 or 6 items from the bottom. Visa J, Visa S. Visa J, Perry's Mills, $2,467.
You have that bill?
I'm guessing that those are the Visa, the credit cards, and J might be for Janice. The one below it would be Sarah, and on the next page, they've got a Visa A for Alan.
Right,
Okay.
Yes,
that's what I assumed.
So a Visa card is being used to pay $2,487, and it's got Perry's Mills on there. What does that mean?
Good question. $2,400, right? I do know the one on the second page, excuse me, the third page, almost to the bottom, the third one from the bottom.
Yeah,
Alan bought some new airlines
Yep.
for the shop, and wherever he went to buy these Plastics owners, they wouldn't take our voucher system, so he put it on his credit card.
Right, it's Visa A and
It
Visa
looks
Alan.
like they replaced temporary fence pole.
What's this stuff?
Well, he was asking Perry Mills, it
Yes.
says something about a fence pole. Grand Slam replacement temporary fence pole. That was
It
$1,047.
could be some of the equipment from the county grant.
Right.
Yes.
They paid us
Spencer.
up front, and then we sent them in the vouchers for what we bought, so that would be, it would be a level expenditure. In other words, we were reimbursed by the county for that, but we had to show that we bought it.
I will find that answer for you.
Yeah, but that, in other words, we get the $5,000 grant, we had to buy $5,000 worth of equipment. And so the county gave us 5,000, we bought 5,000 worth of equipment, that's showing that we bought it. And that would have come out of last year.
I think there's like,
That was paid for last year.
if you take a look tonight in Sarah's office, there's some new playground equipment just came in here in the past week.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was at no cost to the town.
Well, was that a reimbursement though?
Yes.
We had to pay
Yeah,
up
that's what I'm
front?
saying, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
we had to pay up
What we
front,
spent,
got reimbursed, okay. Yes, okay. Yeah, nothing else?
No.
Okay, I don't know if I had a motion to pay the bills, did I?
I don't think we have that. So I'll make a motion that we approve the bills dated 1/13/2020.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any questions, concerns? If not, all in favor?
Alright.
Opposed? That's also carried. Does anybody else have anything before the board? I do need an executive session pertaining to a contract that has to be acted upon. No action will be taken in executive session. If there's action to be taken, it will be back in public session. Okay? So I'd like a motion to go into executive
Make a
session
motion that we move into executive session
for the purpose of reviewing a contract,
for
okay?
the purpose of reviewing a contract.
Okay,
Second.
thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. Julie,